Another name synonymous with cup match is wily St. George's spin bowler Clarence Parfitt, the Classic's all-time leading wicket taker. During a phenomenal cup match career spanning 16 years, Parfitt claimed 115 wickets with best bowling figures of 9 for 47.
Parfitt is the best bowler Bermuda's ever produced, and the best bowler. Parfitt can compare with a test bowler. So. He was a left arm, medium pace, leg break bowler.
He was quicker than the average spinner. Quicker. He had the ability to move the ball in and out. And during my time, Parfitt was, I would say, the best.
Parfitt's the best bowler that I've ever seen, because he wasn't slow. He could take the new ball, and when he slowed up, that ball, it moved, and he had plenty of control. He just didn't bowl, but he had control. And I felt sorry for a lot of the players that feared him, because if you feared him, you were out before you came in.
A few times he had to bowl me in the final trial match, during trial matches, and I was very nervous because I know I'm betting against the #1 spin bowler in the island. So I was very nervous and so forth. But he encouraged me to concentrate as much as possible, which was a good thing.
Parfitt, for me, is the best bowler I've seen in Bermuda. I've played with him with the Bermuda Wanderers. If he told me to stay a foot away from the bat and you're going to be safe, I felt safe. He had such good control.
I think the different things he was able to do with the ball. He would read a batsman, and he would apply different applications to the ball, away swing, an in swing, he'd cut it, swing it back. There were so many variations that he had. He was the type of person that actually had a passion for the game, and he didn't like the idea. I really think he just didn't like the idea of somebody scoring off him, and he doubled up to figure out how can I get you, one, not score, and two, to get you up. And he was so deceptive in his delivery. He was a medium spin, but the things he used to do, I used to admire a lot about. So how you do that?
He was a cut above, and I think it was in '75, I think in one inning he got 9 wickets. And you're wondering, well, why is this guy getting these wickets and why no one else could? But it was because of his disciplines, his lines, his lengths, they were so good, They were so much better than anyone else. He hardly gave you a loose ball. The guy was phenomenal. There's no two ways about that.
Even the test players had trouble with when he bowled serves, like first ball of Thompson. And he gave Kent Barrington trouble. He gave Boyd trouble, test bowlers. He is the best bowler that Bermuda's ever produced.
Parfitt is one of only 2 bowlers to have claimed 100 or more wickets in cup match. The first to achieve the milestone was another former St. George's left-arm spinner, Alec "Cocky" Steed, who claimed 100 wickets between 1922 and 1951.
Cocky is different from bowling from Clarence. Cocky was a slow bowler spinning. Clarence like a medium fast bowler. He can spin when he wants to, but Clarence had a more variation, to my opinion, than Cocky. Clarence was turning your ball both ways. I think Cocky only could take the ball away from me, but now and then he'd give you a straight one.
He was a monster spin bowler. As a matter of fact, his slow left arm bowlers, I said, off break to a right-handed batsman, he gave it a name over to, and he called it the Sorilla. And he could almost break square of the wicket. Great bowler. And the change up was more or less looked like she's coming straight. She just gave a little turn away from the batsman. And that was his weapon. And worked very well for years and years. My father was the captain of the cup match, Team St. George Cup match, long before me. And while saying that, Alec "Cocky" Steed was my brother-in-law, and in fact, Alec "Cocky" Steed played his first cup match in 1922, and my father was captain, And at that time I was 1 year old. And I had the very great privilege of playing with Ellie Cocker for a number of years. I joined the Wellington St. George's Cricket Club in 1939, so to speak. I played my first cup match in 1941. And with Ellie Cocker I played with him for about 5 times, so to speak.
One of the Classic's most outstanding fielders is former St. George's wicketkeeper Dennis Wainwright, who executed 37 dismissals between 1957 and 1977. It is a record that remains to this day.
Dennis Wainwright, I call him the best wicketkeeper in the world because he could have played to any country behind the wickets.
World class. There's no two ways about that. He was of the highest standard.
I didn't become a great wicketkeeper just by sheer gift. I had a gift. I had very quick reflexes. I had a good eye. But I worked hard. I worked hard. I worked, and I earned the position. I earned the status of being the best. So I dare not nobody dare tell me that I wasn't the best because I worked hard. You know, and I don't think any wicketkeeper or fieldsman worked harder than I did as a keeper. And I did things that in the match that people wondered, how did I do it? How? It's because I practiced.
As a young boy growing up, I read a lot about Alan Knott, one of the greatest wicketkeepers in the world, I figured, and his training habits and the way he developed himself, and then watching Dennis Wainwright keep wicket, unbelievable. So, you know, that was inspired me to become a wicketkeeper. Definitely a legend in the game of cup match. You know, you think the amount of years that he played, and you know the role that St. George's was on when he got into the game for years. Fellas like Bummy Simons and Kenny Paul and Clarence Parfit and Alfred Fleetwood, Lloyd James, Lee Rand, Elder, unbelievable team. You know, batting all the way down to number 10.
Every so often, cup match unearths a real jam, as was the case in 1980 when teenage St. George's coach Charlie Marshall emphatically announced his arrival on the big stage. With a 6 off the last ball of a drawn affair at Wellington Oval, Marshall became the first coach to score a century on their cup match debut.
After I completed Bergen Spencer's record, 75, it was a water break just after that. And that's when my captain Neville came to the wicket and said, Charlie, look, you can reach some milestones here. You can get 100 because there's sufficient time left. So I'm not going to call the game. It was like 3 hours left. So that's when I decided to take my time. I had great support at that time from Cam Pitcher, and we were just working the ball around at the time. And
I think when I got to the wicket, he was in his maybe early 80s, and you know, we had quite a few overs left in the match. I think it was about 5 or 6 more overs left. The big question was, can he get a century? That was the big topic around the field. And I remember when Neville, who was the skipper then, he said, put on the pads. If the next one good, you're going out. I said, oh man, I'm never batted this early, even regularly. But I went out there and you could feel the tension. You know, guys like Randy Horton, these guys are fierce competitors. And when I got to the wicket, you heard the talk, you know, the chanting and, you know, let's get him. Make sure he doesn't get a century. This is for a Somerset player.
Whenever coach come, yeah, you know, you always give him a little bit of a hammer. But Charlie was you know, he was always a good competitor right from the beginning, right from when he was a coach, and you know, he was a tough nut, so you know, it wasn't easy to crack.
Came down to the last over. He was in his 90s, and he had to strike. I think he got a boundary and put it up. I'm not sure what the scores were, but in any case, 3 balls left. Charlie was on strike. I said, well, you know, hey, you only need 6 more. You could do it. You maintain the strike. For some reason, we ran on the 3rd last ball, the 4th ball of the over. I was like, what are you doing? You know, I couldn't believe that. It may have been where somebody cut off a boundary. Who knows? I can't remember, but here I am. I'm got the strike. 2 balls left in the game. I'm like, oh man, you know, this is, you know, this is pressure. You know, we were both 18, new to the game, Colts. He's on the threshold of history, and I'm in the middle sharing the stage with him. So we met in the middle. I said, listen, you know, even if I got clean bull, Robert Hines, he was no real threat by that time. But yeah, I had my side here. And I said, even if I got clean bull, kid, just run.
Ken pitcher was on strike, and I knew I had to get down to the other end. And the ball went to the wicketkeeper, and I just ran. I said, Cam, you just got to run, you know, and that's what happened. And I got down to I was on strike at the time, and Robert Hines built me this delicious I call it the ice cream bowl, and I had no other choice to hit him outside.
He wouldn't have been able to score 6 off of me as easily as he scored it off of Robert Hines on the last ball. But Charlie's eyes were so good at that time, probably no matter where a bowler had put that ball, he would have probably met it. You know, he was just in such good form. And, you know, all props to him. You know, I congratulated him for it, and he's going on to be, again, you know, one of our best. He certainly, you know, Somerset, you know, have always been happy to see his back when he's coming out to the back, and they've had to wait a long while most of the time before they saw his back walking to the pavilion.
Both Noel and I got injured in that game. We were both hit in the head by Horton, and I could remember we were both in the emergency room, and we had beds close to each other, and Noel had gotten struck, I think, above on his nose or something like that. I got hit firmly in the head, and obviously he's speaking with a rattled voice. Tom, you heard that? You know. But yeah, it was a phenomenal inning by Charles. I got back to the ground in time to see him hit the last ball. I think it was for 6 to get to 100.
While one can appreciate the sporting aspect of cup match, it is important to understand the true significance of the occasion, which commemorates the abolition of slavery.
It symbolizes freedom. And if we don't have that, then we stand a chance of losing so much. So it is vitally important that anyone that gets involved in Somerset Cricket Club or St. George's Cricket Club as part of the management team, the executive team, and even the membership has to understand that there's an event that comes the last Thursday and Friday before the first Monday in August that is vital, and we have to do everything we can to ensure that that event is carried out.
To me, this is almost like an Independence Day celebration for us. I know we're not an independent country, but we're celebrating the emancipation of slaves. And for those who came before us, who fought hard for all the good things that we have within our island today, this is what we have to start talking about. And the thing that I want to get at one point is to get, as a school teacher, I think it's important that this needs to be within our educational system. One thing I do as an health and physical education teacher is instill that my boys and even the young ladies know what cup match is about. Because there are some kids who really don't know the importance of it. This, to me, is the Bermuda Day of our whole year. Yeah.
When you think of what is celebrated that day, and you think of all the people before you, and that you're celebrating not just a match, but a fight. You know, when you think of slavery, and that's the reason the match was celebrated. That is what really captivated me to play cup match.
There are quite a few people who don't even know the relevance of cup match. And when you delve into history, you find out that hitting the ball around is just a very minor part of what this thing is all about.